Glenn, welcome.
Welcome. Thanks, Rich.
Tell us about your history with the club. You've been around for a while.
I've been a member of the Flying Tigers 15 years, roughly as long as yourself. Originally raced cars and went down. My brother-in-law actually belonged to the club quite a few years ago, and I had gone down to see your annual Fun Fly event, and the rest is basically history. I found it kind of interesting and went out and built a plane and started meeting with some of the members of the club, and followed me through the basic steps to get a trainer in the air, and went through the training program, and tried to pay back, as I know Mr. Horton had mentioned, try and pay back the club, so being a club officer or helping out with instructing students as well, and you try and give back to the club, and that's basically what keeps the hobby going, is guys like us that are willing to put the time back into it to help promote it to other people that are interested in the hobby.
So great, that's kind of what we're trying to do here today with this video, reach a few more people. And,
Exactly.
So you learned to fly with the Tigers also?
Yes, I did, yeah. I went through the antique training program where we actually had to pass a transmitter back and forth. Nowadays we have the buddy box system, which makes life a little bit easier and a lot less stressful than it used to be. And the Flying Tigers has a great program. It's a series of steps you progress through. As you get proficient at one step, you move on to the next, rather than here, go fly, as some of the other members have mentioned. That never seems to work out too well, and short-lived aircraft,
Right, yeah, don't try to teach yourself kind of thing. So
Exactly.
keep stressing that, but it's important.
Right, safety is key, and which is another nice thing about learning from people that have done it already. It's nice. I mean, we're dealing with propellers and things like that. It's nice to know where to stand, how to hold certain things, and enjoy the hobby rather than be afraid of it as well, which helps.
Okay, good. I see you brought an airplane here with you.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your airplane.
Sure, this is just another one of the aspects you get into after you've been in the hobby for a while. This is basically a piece of foam. A lot of the guys joke around and call it a meat tray airplane, but basically what we're trying to do, always keeping safety in mind, we use these to race around pylons, and we can have anywhere from, obviously you need 2 people to race, 2 to 4 to 5 aircraft at one time. These are very light, they weigh less than a pound, and we race around a 60 by 100 triangle course. The idea behind the weight, keeping the weight down, is if we do hit each other, there's not a lot of flying debris, it's very safe. If something bumps into you, it's not going to hurt you.
It's made out of a piece of styrofoam, as you
Right,
mentioned.
right, it's very light, weighs less than a pound, a little electric motor that we use, and obviously it's great because it's quiet. We can go down, and our club has a sound ordinance where we don't fly any of our powered or our glow-powered engines before 10 o'clock for noise reasons. So these are great. 6 in the morning, some guys like me like to get up early, and we'll get out there and go racing for 4 hours before anybody else shows up at the field. So it works out great. The morning air is calm. These work out great. Gives another aspect of the hobby. Relatively inexpensive to do.
Okay.
Yes, I also understand our director has some great video footage of us AT6 racing, or pylon racing as we call it. We can go to that now.
All right, well, let's take a look.
All right.
I'm Joe LeVake. Okay, welcome. Tell us about your history with the club.
Well, first off, glad to be here sharing this moment with the Flying Tigers as we're putting this video together. And I joined the club a while back, maybe 4 years ago. One winter, like we have now, we're filming in winter, it was cold and I was at home, I had nothing to do. So I started building these little plastic models that you can find in any retail outlet, and that was fun for about a day or two. And then I said, hey, maybe I thought I saw somewhere where they actually build planes where you can fly them. So I went out and I went to a local hobby shop and bought a model and I went down in the basement and started putting this thing together. I think one of the things that I would have done differently, I should have done differently, is to find a club, which unfortunately I built the plane and tried to fly it on my own, and it was disastrous. So
How long did it last once you tried to?
well, it lasted probably about 15 seconds in the
Okay.
air.
A long time then.
A really long time, and I'd probably spent 15 months putting this thing
Wow.
together. Probably not that long, but in any event, I went and looked online and found the New Hampshire Flying Tigers, and it was now midsummer, and I had patched up this aircraft, and they had a training program there, which I thought was excellent, and someone was there to inspect my aircraft, and it was really enjoyable. The people were great, and I had a great time. I kept going back on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It fit in with my schedule. I'd get there around 5:30 after work, and so there were instructors there, and I learned to fly. Had I not had those people there, that plane would probably have not been around. It's still around today. It has some battle scars, but
Yeah.
thanks to the folks dedicated to the organization, I was able to get up and flying and having a great time. And now I have, my grandson is getting excited about learning
Right.
RC flying this summer when it comes. And so, it's a generational hobby, I think, from very young kids to, anyone really. As long as you can get yourself to the field in your aircraft, you're on your way to
Great.
having a lot of fun.
That's right. That's a good summary because you mentioned the training program on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. So how long did it take you to learn to fly once you started with us?
Well, I think I wouldn't say that I'm an exceptional learner, so I think it probably took me a little longer than maybe some other folks, but it, in about a month's time, I think I was up and, fairly proficient.
Feeling comfortable
and
in
then
about a
feeling
month.
comfortable,
Right.
and then another month later, with the program that they have set up, you go through certain stages. So
Sure,
I
right.
was able to solo, and I felt confident doing that. And not long after that, maybe the following week, I was able to take the test to become a proficient
pilot, right?
pilot,
Sure.
which meant now that I could go down to the field at any time and fly my aircraft without having an instructor there, overseeing the things that I was doing and making sure I was doing things right. So now my plan is to get, as I progress in the hobby, I've got, several aircraft now, and I still like to build models. In the hobby, you can now get models that are pre-built, but I
Right.
continue to enjoy building models from scratch or kits. And so I think for me, it's, I think it's therapeutic to get down there when, in the cold winter days and get down there and build something. And I like to see the final product of someone's efforts. So to me, that's an important part of the hobby. So I continue to do it. I plan on getting a little more experience in the air this summer. I want to dedicate a little more time to it. And so it's always progressing. There's always something to learn. When you think you got to a certain point, you get that down, well, there's always a next step to go to. And that's what's great about the hobby.
It is
It's
interesting.
evolving.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, you can spend time building, so you're working with your hands and learning that way, or actually flying the aircraft.
Yes, yes. I actually, in my professional life, I started off working in a model shop for many years. And I guess, that kind of stays with me, even though I've moved on into different professions. And I still like to get down there, and
Do things with your hands.
I have a model shop, and I like to build things. And so that gives me, a great sense of satisfaction.